Hello everyone, it's me Faith and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making some pistachio cream puffs. They're amazingly delicious. I'm going to show you how to make them. This is kind of a long-ish recipe. It's going to be separated into 3 parts. We have what we're going to start with now, which is the Créme Pâtissière or Crème Pâte for short. We have the Choux Pastry, which is the choux buns like a profiterole essentially. Then we have the Craquelin, which is the crackly top to the cream puffs. So let's get into this, shall we? The ingredients you'll need to make this will be on screen and in the description. You'll need some milk, butter, vanilla, custard sugar, eggs, corn flour, white chocolate, and some pistachio paste, which is essentially like peanut butter but with pistachios instead. This is just blended up pistachios, just with some oil to make it a bit looser. So let's get started on the Crème Pâtissière. Excuse my pronunciation if it's terrible and you're French. Now we're gonna boil the milk. Put it in the pot and put it on a low heat while we mix the other ingredients. Make sure it's not boiling and just simmering. So we'll add the eggs. Sugar. Corn flour. And we'll give this a nice whisking. We're going to mix this until it starts forming some ribbon and it's a bit lighter in color. Keep an eye on your milk too so it doesn't burn on the bottom. Okay, so with the magic of editing and help from my cameraman, we have, this is nice and thick. We're gonna stop the milk. Now this is hot, obviously it's got to be heat. We're gonna do something which is called tempering the egg. We're not gonna add all of this at once because if so, it will cook the eggs and we'll end up with a chunky crème pâte, which you don't want. So mix this whilst adding a very, very slow stream of your hot milk. Little by little, don't rush it, take your time. Okay, so we'll add this back in the pot until it gets thick. Push the heat on. And continue mixing until it thickens. Okie dokes. So you can see now that this is considerably thicker than it was. We'll add in the butter. Yep. Mix this in until it melts. Okay, so I have some cling film or whatever you like to call this. I'm gonna put this over the top while we melt the chocolate so it doesn't get the skin on top of it, that horrible skin that custard gets. I'm gonna show you how to not get that. So we'll place this cling film right on top of the crème pâte so it doesn't form that horrible skin. So now I am going to melt the white chocolate and I'll be back when it's melted. my melted white chocolate and my pistachio paste. We'll add the white chocolate in with the cream and the pistachio. This smells heavenly. And mix this in. Cling film back on top and put this in the fridge while we make the pastry. Okay, so we're on to the second part of the recipe now. So we're gonna make the craquelin, which is the crackly top on the cream puffs. So you'll need some brown sugar, butter, flour, and green food coloring. So we'll add the butter. And mix this. Okay. So we'll add some food coloring. Be careful, you don't want this to be green, like a super neon green. Just a tinge of green. Okay. This looks like a natural pistachio color to me. So we'll add the flour. Okay, so this is done. I have 2 pieces of baking paper and I'm going to place my cookie dough in the middle. Add the other piece of baking paper on top. Rolling pin. And we're going to roll this out as thin as you can in between the 2 sheets of baking paper. Okay, so this is rolled out and now it's going to go in the freezer while we make the choux pastry. Okay, so now we are going to make the choux pastry, which is the final step to this recipe. You'll need water, flour, butter, eggs and salt. So we'll move on to the stove here. I have a pot. We'll add the water. Butter. And the water boil and the butter melt. Okay. So the water is boiled. We're gonna add the flour and start mixing. And what we're going to do now is cook the flour so it doesn't taste like raw flour when you eat it. Okay, so as you can see, we have a film at the bottom of the pot here. That means it is ready. See, there's a film, slight film on the bottom of the pot. And place it in another bowl so it can cool down, and then we'll add the eggs. The dough has cooled down a bit, so it's not hot again. If you have hot dough and cold eggs, this will cook your eggs and end up on scrambled eggs, which is something you don't want in choux pastry or anything you bake except a scrambled egg. When you're intentionally making scrambled eggs is when you want scrambled eggs, not when you don't. So try add 1 egg at a time and continue mixing. You can also use a stand mixer or do it by hand like I'm doing. This would look slimy and like it's never going to come together, and that's, as you can see here. Don't panic if it looks like this. Just keep mixing and it will smoothen out. The first time I made this, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going wrong. It won't. Just keep on mixing. Trust me. the pastry is ready. I'll show you the consistency of how it should look like. You'll grab a spoonful and wait for it to go down. It should form a V shape. It should be this consistency. That's perfect to pipe. So you need a piping bag and a tray. First of all, we'll fill this piping bag. We'll pipe the lips on our baking tin. Okay, so I've taken the craquelin out of the freezer, as you can see, and I have cut circles out of the dough and placed it on top of my choux pastry, and I'm going to keep doing this until this is done, and then we'll pop them in the oven. Okay, so these are going to go in a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. After the first 10 minutes, open the door so the steam will go out, so your pastry doesn't get soggy. And then to cool them, leave them in the oven and crack the oven door open and let the oven cool down, and they'll cool down so they're crisp up and won't become soggy. So the choux pastry, the choux buns have come out of the oven. They are completely cool, and now we just need to fill them. I have the filling in a piping bag with a nozzle at the end, and how we're going to fill them is we're going to flip them upside down. With a knife, we're going to poke one hole. We're going to put an X in it. Grab your piping bag and just squeeze. There we go. Here are the amazingly beautiful pistachio cream puffs. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, comment down below on what you'd like to see, and I'll see you again next week. Bye bye. Now, let's see if they're actually any good. Which one did I go for? There we go. Oh my goodness. You seriously have to make these. They're got the beautiful crispy top from the craquelin, the crunchy choux pastry, and the amazing pistachio and white chocolate filling we did, and just an amazing combination. And they're so good. I hope you make these. Don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll see you again next week. Bye bye. For goodness sakes. This is why you wear an apron.